overinflated what God can do. I said there's no check you can write on behalf of God that you cannot cash.
Oh, yes.
That young lady has never seen anybody heal of leprosy. Yet, her faith is that ain't nothing God can do. Tell my boss to go to Israel and he will see the power of God. I know what God has said he can do through this church. There are days when it might be 3 of us who we have service here. We will be faithful, we have it. Amen. But in due time, God will do what he has promised. So it doesn't matter where you find yourself now. If God has made a promise, he will fulfill it. Yes. But what God does is that he takes you through detours. But you're like, I know what he showed me. All this I'm going through has no resemblance to what he showed me. It's perfecting you. There are things there are places God will take you through that will make something fall off you. Because the most difficult thing in life to maintain is success. Success is so difficult to maintain. You have to fight to get to the promised land, and you have to fight to keep the promised land. That's why there are so many people who have disgraced God. They are not well prepared when they get to the top. And when they get to the top, after a while, you start assuming it is you. Because success has a contaminating effect. If everybody around you become a yes sir and a yes man, and before you know it, you start feeling you God yourself. Because no matter how bad you are, because God, people through you develop faith. And because when you see what God is doing in you, you lay hands. You could have been sleeping with boys and young girls. Yeah, God will heal. You're like, I'm above everything. The thing is that it's not you that God is respecting. He's respecting the faith of the people that comes to you. God told Moses, speak to the rock. Moses struck the rock. Yet water came out. Nobody knew he disobeyed God except himself and God. The disobedience was so serious, God will not let him enter the promised land. So when you see people when you see God using people, it's not because they are so pure, because none of us is pure. We all have our handicaps. It might not be physical, but we are all imperfect people. So the girl's opinion of God was so big. She said, God can do anything. God will take care of your leprosy. He went. And the Bible let us know how it is God's business. And God will sustain it. This church belongs to God. God will sustain this church. Amen. Any church that belongs to God, God will find a way to sustain it. Yes. Because God will not allow anybody to brag, if not me. No. The Bible let us know when Naaman was leaving Syria, he packed heavily. He took thousands. Let me show you what he took. Now we are we moved from chapter 4 to chapter 5 of 2 Kings. Verse 5 of chapter 5 said, then the king of Syria said, go now, and I will send a letter to the king of Israel. So he departed and took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 changes of clothing. He came loaded. He wanted to buy a miracle. When he got to the man of God, that was just go deep in the Jordan. And he got angry. He said he felt he was not treated with respect. He didn't want to do it. But the servant made him do it. And the Bible let us know after he did it, he was healed. And then he came back. And then he wanted to bless the man of God. That you find in verse 16. In verse 16, after he came back, after he had been healed of leprosy, now he wanted to give. At first, when they told him, go do this simple operation and get healed, he got angry. Because God did not move the way he expected God to move. So when he has been healed now, he wanted to bless God. But look at what the man of God said. In verse 16 of 2 Kings, he said, but he said, as the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will receive nothing. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. My goodness. A pastor turning down money. A pastor in need. saying, I will not let you treat my God as if it's a trap. You ain't going to bring that contaminated money into this house. Feeling, if not for you, this church will not stand. He said, no way, take your money. He said, please, pastor. I said, no, we ain't taking your money. And it's not chicken money, I just read it to you. It was loaded. The Bible said in verse 6 of chapter 5, verse 5, it said he took with him 10 talents of silver, 6,000 shekels of gold, and 10 chains of clothing. So we're not talking little money here. But yet he didn't take it, because the condition of his heart will not glorify God. But remember when Gehazi took that stick to go and lay it on that guy, on the boy that was dead, and the boy did not come alive. I said the condition of his heart contaminated what was in his hand. When he saw his master refused to take all this goods, he said, if pastor is retarded, I ain't. He followed the man and said, I don't care what God thinks. I need some money. He said, hey, that was saw him running. He stopped. It's like, any problem? He said, yeah, as you left. So there's a need that arose in the church, and we need something urgently. He said, so my pastor said, forget what I said earlier. Can we get some money now? He said, oh, no problem. He gave him some money. When he came back home, the pastor, Elisha, said, where have you been? He said, nowhere. He said, when you were running there, I saw you. He said, the leprosy that left you now is for your family. And the Bible said at the end of chapter 5 that he left the presence of the man of God leprous. Are you following me? Yes. He's like, where am I going? Just wait. Remember the lady whose son was revived. Okay? Now let me paraphrase what happened in the next few chapters so that we can just round up, because I want to bring it home. Because of the sin of the people of Israel, because they were not following God, they were not obeying God, God decided to judge them. He allowed the king of Syria to encamp around them so that they were shut up. They couldn't go out or come in. As the Bible says, Samaria was enclosed and surrounded by the Syrian